friends, welcome. Today we are going to study 1.2 a synopsis The Swiss Family Robinson. About the text. This is the synopsis of the novel, The Swiss Family Robinson, which is an adventurous novel. It gives a message to us and youth about self-reliance, determination, cooperation, love for one's family and careful use of resources. Warming up. Do you know any stories about people who were lost in uninhabited places and were later rescued? Name them. Yes, I had recently come across the news of two people rescued from an uninhabited island in Micronesia by the US Coast Guards. They had written a giant SOS, that is, Save Our Souls, on the sand. The pilots of a US Navy helicopter spotted it. After a week-long search, they found the couple who were safely taken back home. A synopsis. The Swiss Family Robinson. The Swiss Family Robinson is a well-known adventure novel that people of many countries have enjoyed for more than 200 years. It has also been made into graphic novels and films. The novel, written by the Swiss clergyman Johann David Wyss, is not just an adventure. It aims at teaching young people values like self-reliance, determination, love for your family, cooperation and prudent use of resources. It also has good lessons relevant in natural sciences, good husbandry and even mathematics. The story is about the Robinson family members who were shipwrecked on an island in the early 19th century. They are Mr. and Mrs. Robinson, their 4 sons, Fritz, Jack, Ernest, and Franz, as well 2 dogs, Turk and Juno. The Robinson family used all resources on the ship that survived in the storm, as well as the things available on the island. The Robinson family survived from the shipwreck, and the family found themselves within sight of a tropical desert island. As they reached to the island, they set up a temporary camp. Mr. Robinson realized that they had to prepare for a long time on the island and make as much provision for the future as for their immediate needs. William Robinson was a very intelligent person and resourceful as well. He was constantly in motion, always leading his family on to the next task. He did not want his children to be left behind in education, so he taught them practically the concepts of geometry with the help of long and short branches to trees. He also taught them calculations and angles, and how to use triangles to measure big objects. Mrs. Robinson, Elizabeth, being mother, took care of the food by tending a garden which produced corn, melons, pumpkins and cucumbers. The Robinson family called the island New Switzerland. They made their homes as per the situations. Like, their first home was a tent, which they built up by softening the floor with armloads of grass. They cut them and spread it to serve as their beds. Their second home was a tree house, which they built by using long and extended branches. These branches were used as platforms. They also created a ladder out of bamboos. Their third home was a cave house, which they created by making an opening on the smooth face of the rock. They cut windows in the rock for ventilation and sunlight. At last, they decided to build a stronger house using 4 strong trees as base. This was a much safer home for them. Robinson family, after 10 years on the island, had virtues needed for successful survival. They learned the values of persistence, cooperation and determination. Within a few hours of arrival at the island, the shipwrecked family was making themselves a nice supper, and had even created a roof over their heads. They learned to feed and medicated themselves as well. William Robinson and Elizabeth continued to live on the island along with their sons Ernest and Jack. Fritz and his wife Jenny returned to Europe. Franz, the youngest son, too returned to receive an academic education. New words. New words. Marginal questions. In what way is a work of fiction different from a fact file? A work of fiction stretches reality, unlike a fact file which merely describes facts. How did the family reach the tropical island? The family made a vessel out of tubs on the ship and filled it with food, ammunition and all other articles of value that they could. They towed towards the tropical island and reached there safely. Why did Mother wish to shift the family to a tree house? Mother wished to shift the family to a tree house because their camp was not only exposed but was also dry and hot. The tree house would also keep them safe from jackals. How did the mother occupy herself while the tree house was being built? Mother occupied herself with gardening of healthy plants while the tree house was being built. What was the third place the family decided to reside in? Why did they wish to shift there? The third place that the family decided to reside in was the cave. They wished to shift there for safety reason and for warmth during the winter season. What made the family change over to their fourth residence? What precaution did they take before building it? The family changed over to their fourth residence because their family hut was destroyed by the elephants, along with the cultivated fields. They took precaution this time and instead of building the house on stilts, used 4 strong trees, growing in a square, as the foundation. Do the changes in the family's residence remind you of the history of man's evolution? The change in the family's residence was not entirely similar to the history of evolution, according to me. The family changed residences from a tent, to a tree house, to a cave and then back to a tree house. In the history of evolution of man, the sequence of events was different. Man first lived in a cave that made wooden huts and tree houses. How did Fritz learn about another victim, forsaken on a faraway island? Fritz learnt about another victim forsaken on a faraway island with the help of a rag that was tied to an albatross leg whom he had knocked down. Who was the victim and how long had she survived? Jenny Montrose was the victim and she had survived there for nearly 3 years. Who is included in the word everyone in everyone was amazed? The passengers and the crew of the British vessel are included in the word everyone in everyone was amazed. How does the adventure come to a happy end? The adventure comes to a happy end with the father, mother, Jack and Ernest deciding to live on the island and Fritz, Franz and Jenny going back to England, Europe. Fritz wished to marry Jenny and Franz wanted to get an academic education. Workshop. A compound word is a combination of 2 or more words that function as a single unit of meaning. There are 3 types of compounds words. Closed compounds. 2 words are joined together to create a new meaning. For example, flower pot, keyboard, notebook, bookstore, etc. Hyphenated compounds. Words are joined together by a hyphen. For example, mother-in-law, merry-go-round, etc. Open compounds. Words are open but when read together, a new meaning is formed. For example, post office, full moon, etc. Some examples of compound words: lifetime, elsewhere, upside, grandmother, cannot, baseball, fireworks, passport, together, become, became, sunflower, crosswalk, basketball, sweetmeat, airport, moonlight, football, railroad, rattlesnake, anybody, weatherman, throwback, skateboard, Words used as nouns as well as verbs. A. Hold. Noun. She has a strong hold over her children. Verb. Let me hold the bag for you. B. Value. Noun. He tried to estimate the value of the car. Verb. I value these old photographs. C. Knot. Noun. The bird had a knot of feathers forming a crest. Verb. Knot the shoelaces. G. Knock. Noun. The knock grew louder on the door. Verb. Don't knock the door. H. Attack. Noun. The attack began at dawn. Verb. Attack the enemy. I. Mark. Noun. His arrow hit the mark. Verb. Mark these baskets. Write the correct human attributes. A. The father told Fritz the gourds would make excellent bowls and spoons, and they cut them into various utensils. Resourcefulness. B. After some day, Elizabeth informed that she wanted the family to move to a safe place. Cautiousness. C. Thinking ahead of winter, father decided to create a place safe from the elements. Foresight. D. Father taught the boys geometry and how to use triangles to measure big objects. Knowledge and its application. Friends, we have studied a synopsis, the Swiss Family Robinson. I hope you have enjoyed the session. If you have liked it, share it with your friends. Thank you, friends. Do visit our channel for learning English language study in a different way. Stay connected with Learning Station. Learning English with fun.